welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. I am so happy to finally have you at one of our events.
I'm excited
It's
to be
going
here.
to be a treat, a short treat, but a treat nonetheless. Okay, so I think we all know the truth in this room, but womanhood has been historically more of a setback than an asset. But you've talked about a higher essence of womanhood and how we can step into our genius. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've never looked at it as being a setback, although historically we've just been knocked down and punched in the gut any and every way possible. But that is a testament to like our resilience, that we always get back up and we show up and show out, right? And so for me, the best way that I look at it from womanhood, even with the work that I do with Pharrell at Black Ambition, is a conversation that I had with him when I first started. And I don't know if anyone's watched the show Lovecraft Country. Anyone? Jordan Peele sci-fi, that's all I have to say. It's crazy, but it's so good. But episode 4 or 5, there's a character, Christina, and then there's this other character named Ruby. And they're having this conversation. Christina has all these mystical powers. She can make things appear and disappear. Ruby feels quite powerless. She has all the potential to be able to do something, but she just doesn't feel like she has the power. And I think a lot of us as women feel that way. We have all the potential within us to do it, but there are times where the light is shining on us and we just don't stand up because we don't feel like we have a voice. And Christina turns to Ruby and asks her this question, who are you uninterrupted? And when I heard that question, I was just like, whoa, I'd never heard that question before in my entire life. I'd worked for some of the top companies in the world. They'd never asked me this question, who are you uninterrupted? If at any intersection in your life, the light wasn't red, it was never yellow, it was only green, who would you be? What would you build? What would your families look like? What would your companies look like? What would your community look like as a result of nothing ever standing in the way? And so before you can answer that question, you also have to ask yourself, well, what were the interruptions that I take into every room, every boardroom, every conversation? So identifying the interruptions, because as women, there are a lot of interruptions that have happened to us. And then when you talk about women of color, racism is a massive interruption, right? Bias in funding is a massive interruption. Sexism is a massive, I can go through all the isms, right? But we can also hold on to a pathway to whatever we want that is never interrupted again. And if we can dream that big, we can make those things a reality. And like that is my hope for women, is that we define what our lives are like uninterrupted and then never let those things stop us from a pathway to achieving that.
So we're dealing with being interrupted, and whether it's internal or external, sometimes living small or smaller than we could be. So what does living bigger look like for women?
Yeah, I think living bigger is a personal journey for everyone. It's also asking ourselves bigger, richer, more expensive, more expansive questions. Tony Robbins, one of my favorite quotes from him, is the quality of our questions determine the quality of our lives. And so if we want bigger, richer, more expansive, quality, whole lives, we have to ask ourselves and the people around us bigger, richer, expensive, more expansive questions. A lot of us ask $3 or $30 questions all the time, instead of asking 300,000, 3 million, like big, audacious questions, and then waiting for and opening up and receiving those answers back to us so that they guide our next best move in life.
Okay, so this is a thing that I have a problem with, that I think women can sometimes compete with each other, where we could be doing better to pull each other up.
Yeah.
So what's your feeling on that?
Ooh, competition. We look good in this room, don't we? There have been moments in my career where I've experienced sabotage from other women, but then there have been moments in my life, and a lot of moments, more than I can ever account, where women have supported me at the highest level, where at times where I didn't believe in myself, I had to borrow their belief in me. And so like that is always gonna outweigh the people that think small about themselves so that they project that on me, or the people that stand in the way of my greatness, or more importantly, the impact that I'm trying to have with the work that I do of funding and supporting entrepreneurs. My mentor, Myron, actually said something to me that I think really kind of sums it up the best, right? I'm a big like the pie is big enough for everyone to get a slice. Anyone feel like that? Like there's an infinite pie, right? And I was saying that to him, and one day he was just like, no, Felecia, the pie is not big enough for everyone to get a slice. I'm like, what you talking about? Because I see an infinite pie that also happens to be sweet potato pie, because that's my favorite pie. And he's like, no, it's not. He's like, you should not be striving to eat your slice of the pie. Because when you eat your slice of the pie, at the end of that consumption, like you're well fed, but nobody else is well fed. And what he said is you should actually be striving to eat from the garden. Because when you eat from the garden, your consumption, at the end of you consuming that fruit, are seeds. And you can plant those seeds, and other people get to eat as a result of your consumption. And so as you are as talented as you are, as the genius that you are, you should be well fed based off of your talents and innate ability. It shouldn't come as a sacrifice. But when you look at this being an opportunity that's much more expansive for others, and in support of others, you get to be well fed. Your family gets to be well fed. Your company gets to be well fed. Your community. And you know what? At the end of that, you plant more seeds and everybody gets to eat. And so I register to that. An infinite garden where everyone is supported based off of me stepping into my genius. And as everyone steps into our genius, we have an infinite garden where everyone is well fed. And that's how I look at, so I don't see competition. I'm like, you know what, you don't want to work, that's, bless your heart, right? But like, we are going to continue on this ship because that's such wasted, hate is such wasted energy. Such wasted energy when you can be doing so much more with that energy.
Okay, so speaking of what you're doing with your energy right now, Black Ambition is about clearing some of the obstacles so there can be more Black and Latinx entrepreneurs. So of all the different things you've done in your career, why is this important to you now?
Ooh, you know, I built an organization in Miami at a time where Miami startup ecosystem was just starting to sprout up and it was not inclusive of the Black community or the low-income Hispanic community at all. So built Black Tech Week, the Center for Black Innovation, and then 2.5 years ago, Pharrell's chief of staff asked me to come lead Black Ambition, which is an initiative that he built to close the wealth gap and create uninterrupted opportunities through entrepreneurship and to entrepreneurship for Black, Hispanic, and then HBCU startup founders. What I had never been able to do in the organizations that I built was actually directly invest in entrepreneurs. And I got really tired, as a founder, and then two, as an ecosystem builder, building the community that supports those entrepreneurs. I got really tired of people asking, aside from money, what do these entrepreneurs need? The money you keep putting aside. Like, that is what they need. And they need lots of it. We know wealth has a need for speed. And it's really weird that corporations, investors, and foundations have gotten really comfortable wasting the time of Black and Hispanic entrepreneurs. They need the money faster. They need the mentorship faster. They need the resources faster. And if you cannot do that, get out of their way. And so at Black Ambition, that's what we do. We really kind of have 5 C's, right? So not just the capital, but the community, the care, the content, and the connections. And what makes Black Ambition unique is we look at entrepreneurship support from a holistic support standpoint. We have therapists through the Evoke program for our entrepreneurs. Because if you're building an entrepreneurship support program that does not prioritize mental health, you are actually doing a disservice to Black and Hispanic entrepreneurs. You gotta invest in the whole entire entrepreneur so that they are whole, so that they can go out and get what they need and build companies that have massive impact to the community. And so we've invested in 65 companies up until this point. By November, we'll reach the 100 entrepreneurs that we've invested in. We support about 250 entrepreneurs every year through our cohort-style mentorship program. And those companies we've invested, we'll get to about 10 million that we've invested in those companies, and they've raised over $80 million in the past 2.5 years since the organization has started. What does that mean? Get the entrepreneurs the capital, create an environment that's safe for them with high-level mentors, and then connect them to the resources that they need, and then kind of get out of their way because they're brilliant people. But my heart goes out to the fact that if our organization didn't exist, these 100 brilliant entrepreneurs would not have gotten the initial capital that they needed to have the massive impact that they've already had on the world in the past 3 years. And that's what we do at Black Ambition.
No small task. Yes, applause for that. Okay, I have 1 second. I'm going to use it to ask, who is Felecia Hatcher, uninterrupted?
Ooh, everyone always asks me this. Felecia Hatcher, uninterrupted, is, I'm in the pocket of my creative genius at any and all times. And as a result of that, I have able to have massive impact on the world. And Felecia Hatcher is the granddaughter of a Jamaican sugarcane farmer and a grandmother and the granddaughter of a woman who had a second grade education, that was the smartest person that I know. And me uninterrupted is not just having a return on investment, ROI, but a return on their sacrifice, ROS. And me uninterrupted is making sure that there's a massive return on the sacrifice that everyone invested into me. That's me.
I told you, a lot of gems dropped in a short time. Thank you, Felecia.